Is the 2020 Tacoma the perfect midsize truck?
Okay, so is the Toyota Tacoma the perfect midsize truck? Well, the short answer is almost. And I'm going to tell you what's holding it back here in a minute. First of all, let's look at why it does qualify as being the perfect midsize truck. Number one, sales. It's a no-brainer, right? I mean, the Tacoma has been around for quite a while, especially in its third gen configuration. And sales continue to dominate. Toyota is number one with the Tacoma and has been for years. So it has, as far as comparing it to its competition, a perfect sales record. Next up, looks and aesthetics. You know, I have talked about the Toyota Tacoma's looks on this channel, I don't know, numerous times. And I still feel the same way. I mean, take a look at this truck. Now, it is in the gorgeous voodoo blue, of course, so I might be a little biased there as far as color goes because I really love this color. But the lines of the truck, the way it looks, the proportions, all of it, the whole package put together is just awesome. There is no better looking truck on the road. Now, that's considering both full-size and mid-size trucks. So I would say the Toyota Tacoma dominates the entire truck market. I don't care if you're talking about a Ford Raptor, which everybody seems to love, and I don't hate it, but the Tacoma is a better looking truck. Has been for years, and unless Toyota really screws it up, and I hope they don't, when they finally get around to a redesign, which by the way, I'm thinking is probably about 3 years away or so, that they don't make it more Ranger-like or more Colorado-like. You know, both are not horribly ugly trucks, but there are just little nuances about them. You know, the Colorado, I don't like the way the rear window is designed. I don't like the way that looks. It looks funny to me. And the Ford Ranger's kind of rounded. I know, it's to make it more aerodynamic, right? But it's more roundish kind of looking in the front, if that makes sense. I hope that Toyota doesn't go that way. You know, since it will be a redesign eventually, obviously they're going to have to make styling changes. But I would argue that when you have the perfect truck from a styling or an aesthetic standpoint, you don't really need to make changes. Leave it alone. It looks good. Concentrate or put the money in the R&D somewhere else, somewhere that people care more about. Next up, technology. You know, it is spot on, I think. They finally took a leap forward. You know, we have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in the truck now. It's awesome to be able to connect those things. I wish it were a Bluetooth connection. That would be even better, but to my knowledge, nobody has done that with a Bluetooth capability, so you still have to have the cable. But either way, it still is awesome. The screen is awesome, the clarity, the crispness of it. Love the way it looks, love the way it works. So far in my truck, I've never had not even one issue, you know, where I've hit a button or touched the screen or whatever and had some kind of weird thing happen. Hasn't happened at all for me. It's spot on, great design, love the way that it looks and it works. The 360-degree camera, you know, that thing is really cool. I kind of went back and forth, you know, as to whether I should spend the money on that when I spec'd out and ordered the truck. But I gotta say, I use it frequently. And I'm referring specifically to the top-down view, you know, that lets you see where the truck is in relationship to your surroundings, right? I pull the truck out and I'm always pulling kind of beside the neighbor's property, really. And I put the truck over as far as I can get before I'm in their grass, because I'm sure they probably don't want me in their grass. And I don't want to be in their grass. I might get my truck dirty. But anyway, on that screen, I can see, man, I'd say within inches, maybe even an inch, of where the side of my truck is compared to what's beside me. And it really, really comes in handy when I'm trying to position the truck where I want it without driving all over the neighbor's property. The system works so far flawlessly, and I can only imagine if you're a heavy-duty off-roader and you really want to have a good idea of your surroundings and what you're coming up against, this system is awesome. It would be awesome for that. So kudos to Toyota for getting the technology right, finally. in the truck. Next up, fit and finish. Now for this, I looked at the outside of the truck. Everything looks pretty darn good. For this video, I looked at the inside of the truck a bit, paid more attention to the plastics and the seams and all that kind of stuff, even the noises. Now, I've got to say that everything fits nice and flush. Everything comes together like it should. The different surfaces marry up in a way that they look like they should be together. Nothing is awkward or positioned improperly. Spot on inside. Squeaks, stuff like that, noises. I mean, doesn't it drive you nuts when you buy a new vehicle, and you're driving down the road, and you can hear squeaks or noises? I've had this happen in several vehicles in the past. Everything from plastics rubbing together, making that little squeaky noise, and even wires that weren't properly insulated, I guess, or you know, that little foam stuff, that foam padding that they wrap around wires. That's to keep them from slapping against the side of the truck or the other plastics or surroundings that they're up against. Haven't had anything like that in this truck. The only thing that makes noise inside my truck is me, the radio, and the junk that I've put inside. Spot on. Kudos to Toyota for doing that. So far, it's probably one of the few vehicles that I've had that I've not experienced some sort of an annoying noise, rattle, squeak inside the truck. Next up, Modifiability. You know, Toyota has been building this current third generation model pretty much unchanged for years now. Now, while a lot of people complain about that and that there hasn't been any change, nothing's different, nothing's updated, which I think it's perfectly fine the way it looks. But the benefit in that is that if you're a modder like me, I mean, look at the channel, I have tons of videos on modding stuff. The Toyota Tacoma is perfect for it because nothing really has changed. So all of these parts that have been around out there for years are pretty much interchangeable between the different model years of Tacomas within the third generation platform. And it's awesome. And the other good thing about it is most of the stuff is bolt-on. Now, that means that everything that was out there that lined up in year one of the third generation still pretty much fits 2020's year model of the third generation. You gotta love that. And the parts out there are numerous because of it. You know, I had noticed when I've gotten other vehicles in the past that were new model years or within a year or two, you notice that there aren't very many mods available because it takes the aftermarket a while to catch up, right? I mean, they've got to put their hands on a truck or work with whoever the manufacturer is to come up with dimensions, do a little R&D and get it right. And in doing that, chances are there are problems in between where you may get parts. My wife had an example on her Jeep JL back here. We ordered some inserts for the grill, and when we got them, and it was stated, now maybe it was just a bad website, I don't know, but it was stated on that site that they were for the 2018 Jeep JL. They weren't even close to fitting. So I think it's a good thing that Toyota has kind of left things alone for a while, at least for us modders out there, right? Next up, what is holding the Toyota back then? You know, I mentioned all of these things that make it perfect, but there's one thing that it's lacking on, and that is power. You know, in my opinion, the Tacoma could use at least another 75 to 100 horsepower. You know, and that, of course, depends on a tune. They could probably retune the current model, something more similar to the Gladiator up there, and get something that feels at least a little bit more powerful. 75 to 100 horsepower would do it, in my opinion, and I wouldn't even care, really, if they went to a turbo V6. You know, I don't have problems with turbos as long as they're handled properly, right? Now, a lot of people complain about the longevity of them. Well, you're going to have maintenance costs. Yeah, what, 20 years from now? I mean, you know, come on. So if they came out with a turbo V6, maybe they could even increase fuel economy, give us a little bit more power, or at least a better feel in the Tacoma, and it would be awesome. But better yet, imagine a small V8 in the Toyota Tacoma, right? I mean, it's never going to happen. That would probably be taking a step backwards as far as the fuel economy argument goes. But wouldn't it be awesome if you had the option of buying a small V8 for your Tacoma. I mean, it'd be pretty cool. And I'm talking about from the factory. Of course, people jam and stuff all kinds of things in there. There's somebody out there on the web who put a diesel motor inside their Tacoma. I'm talking about from the factory, a factory offered small block V8. That would be awesome. Anyway, that's the only thing that's holding it back, in my opinion, is power. If they solve that problem, indeed, the Toyota Tacoma will be the perfect midsize truck. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Leave a comment down below. Am I off base? Am I wrong? Do you think, except for power, the Toyota Tacoma is the perfect midsize truck? I'd be curious to hear what you have to say. Also, if you'd like to, and you're interested, shameless plug, check out my other channel. It is RobMotion, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator, right up there. And don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.